Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Ania, and today we're going to plan September together. So for my September theme, I really wanted to go with a space theme. Now, if you know me in real life, I am not the best artist. I do try my best. So this first sticker that you're seeing me place down actually wasn't drawn by me. I borrowed it from Pinterest, but I 100% am not taking credit for it. It was an amazing piece that I found online. And don't worry, I'm not selling it. I'm not using it for any monetary gain. I just really loved it and felt that it represented the theme that I wanted to go for very well. So there it is. So on the cover page, I kind of wanted to make him look as though he was like floating through space. So that's why I put all the dots. And I have to say, last month I went with a theme that was very simple because I knew it was the start of the semester and I really wanted to be able to focus on the semester and school and not think about, anything too difficult to put together. So I went with a very simple, like fall inspired theme, even though, it's technically still the end of summer, but I'm kind of excited for the fall season, so I couldn't wait to jump in. Whereas this theme is very much more like intricate. I mean, it's still not too bad, but it was definitely something really fun and a theme that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. And overall, I did some different things than I normally do in my bullet journal, and I just really love the way that it ended up coming together. So as you can see right now, I'm putting together my calendar and I'm actually doing individual boxes for my calendar. I cannot remember the last time I did individual boxes for my calendar in my bullet journal. So I kind of surprised myself, but I really like the way it came out. I think it's very fun. It's very different for me. And overall, it was just a really cool, it was just something different. And that's basically what I wanted to do. I just wanted to try something different. I kind of wanted to step out of the box and not have the same boring old layout. I wanted to do a couple things differently. So this was one of the things that I did that turned out pretty well. We're going to see later on that we had a couple of fails, but that's what happens when you make bullet journal spreads. Not everyone is going to be a win. Not every idea is going to pan out, but you still keep trying. And at the end of the day, as long as your bullet journal is functional, I feel like that's the most important aspect of having a bullet journal, is that you actually use it. Alright, so now we're going to decorate the top of the spread. And I actually went for, no surprise here, some black cardstock to decorate the top. But I felt that, it was so fitting for this theme. It's a space theme, so I could have different stars and galaxies and stuff, across the top of the page to tie everything together. And overall, I just really was happy with the way that it ended up coming out. We're gonna see pretty soon that I try to cut it out around the pages, and I do a pretty terrible job on some of the pages, but I do go back and I do fix it later off camera so that my book will actually continue to lay flat and open the way that I needed to, so that I can use it. So this is where you can see me adding all the stars, and the pen that I'm using is the Jelly Roll white pen. I believe mine is the size 08. So as you just saw in the shot, I did try and make some little planets in Procreate. So all of the stickers on that sheet I drew myself, and we'll see them come into play a little bit more later. So one thing I really appreciate about having a YouTube channel now is the fact that my bullet journal is always done early now. I'm definitely one of those people who, like, 1 month I will literally wait 2 weeks into the month to get my bullet journal ready, and that's so like disruptive to my schedule. And then the next month I'm like, okay, I was late last month, so now this month I have to be on top of it, and I'll get everything ready super early, and it's so helpful. And then it was like this back and forth yo-yo. So it's kind of nice having a YouTube channel because I can plan when I'm going to set up my bullet journal so that I can film it for you guys. And it's been a really nice change of pace so that my bullet journal is already ready to go before the month starts. And I just want to say this helps me a lot. So yeah. I also am not a drop shadow person, but I decided to try it out, and I think it made the spread a lot more fun. So I'm pretty glad that I tried it. Alright, so now we're setting up the side of my bullet journal, which I use for like an overview of the next month, my wish list, and any notes or tasks that don't have a specific calendar date. I like having a calendar of the next month just so I can kind of see, like, keep my eyes out for anything that's gonna happen within the next month, or if something maybe starts at the end of this month but goes into the next month, I'm kind of prepared for it. So I always tend to put one of those there, so nothing new there. So I was playing around with the black paper. I also have some cardstock cutout of pictures that I printed like a long time ago, and I figured, you know, if I needed any just scrap paper that kind of fit the theme, I had some, but it didn't end up really fitting with what I was trying to go with, so I ended up not using it actually at all during this setup. But at the end of the day, I still feel like it worked out the way that I wanted it to. So okay, so now we have come to my habit tracker and my workout routine. So I probably mentioned this last month, but this is definitely one of my most used spreads in my bullet journal. Just because I use it to keep track of so many different things. And it really keeps me on top of a lot of things that I want to accomplish, which is the point, right? So I won't ramble on too much about what I track because I'm pretty sure I did that in the August Plan With Me video. So if you'd like to know more, you can watch that video, or you can go to my Instagram. So as you can probably tell, I am a big fan of calendars in my bullet journal, and any reason to have a calendar, I will put one. I feel like it's very visual and it just helps keep me on track for some reason. So, you know, some people are able to just write everything down in one page and they can keep track of all of that. I'm very much like, I need to see how things are gonna fit together in order for it to work for me. So you just gotta find what works for you. So I will say that I like to keep this page pretty simple because I don't want to get like too overwhelmed with it, but I kind of do wish I would have added just a little bit more to decorate this page. You'll see in a second when we get closer to completing it. I also apologize that the light is changing so much during this video. I decided, against better judgment, to film this video kind of late, and it was an experience, but I got it done. So also, if you saw my what's in my backpack video, you will know that I just recently got the mild liner brush pens, and I have to say I was a little bit skeptical about purchasing them, which if you saw that video, you know that I didn't purchase the entire pack because I didn't know if I wanted to commit to it yet. But I have to say, after using it in this spread and using this color for my color of the month, I really, really like these brush pens, and I think that I will be purchasing the entire pack because I was actually surprised at how much I like them, and I already know that I like majority of the colors that the mild liners come in, so I'm very pleased to say that I'm actually pretty happy with that purchase. I also just put down one of the little planet duos that I made, and they're not that great, but I think they're actually pretty cute. They're more of a cartoony type style, I guess you could say, like very stylistic, not realistic by any means, but I still really like them. I think they ended up being really cute, so I'm glad that I even tried to make that work. I knew I wanted parts of the elements of this to be things that I actually drew and things that actually came from me creatively, but at the same time, I wasn't quite ready to draw an astronaut yet, so working on it. Maybe next time, maybe this time next year, who knows, or maybe I'll do this again and I'll try my hand at drawing it myself, so we'll see how that goes. So as of right now, I am setting up my 2 lines a day spread. I'm very curious to know if you guys use your bullet journal to actually journal. I was pretty against it for a while. I just didn't see how it could work for me because I felt like, I was already doing so many other things in my bullet journal. Like, how could I actually write in there as well? And I didn't want it to be like all over the place. Like, you probably noticed that the way that I set my bullet journal up is very clean and very kind of minimalistic, but it really works for me. And so I didn't want journaling to kind of be away from that. So I didn't want journaling to be outside of my normal. But then when I, saw the 1 line a day spread, I tried it out and I actually really enjoyed just writing a little bit something about my day. And then I quickly realized that 1 line was not gonna be enough. So I did 2. I also tracked my mood and my energy level, and I feel like those 3 working together has been like the perfect mix for me. So, yeah. All right, so I believe that we are setting up my finance tracker. So I rambled about this in my August plan with me, but basically, this is one of the pages that I think should be in everybody's bullet journal. I can see everything. I can see what's coming. I never have to wonder like, oh, do I have a bill here? Did this bill get paid? I'm very much like into business, into personal finance, so I feel like you have to know where your money's going. And this spread is simple, but it's very effective, and that's why I feel like it should be in people's bullet journal, because I feel like anybody could find this useful without you having to like do too much work. Basically, I use the column on the left page to have a calendar that shows me on which day in the month that bill is going to be charged in my account, or if I have to pay cash for it, whatever it is. Whenever I'm going to have to, put money towards a bill, I put it in the calendar. So the column on the right is for me to list the date the bill is due, the bill name, the bill amount. I also will write down the day it will actually get paid, because sometimes, you know, you have bills that are like, oh, okay, we're going to take it out on the 13th, but then the money might not actually be pulled from your account until like the 15th or the 16th. So I keep track of that as well, just to make sure it gets paid. And then I also write down what payment form I used to pay for it. So for example, if I used my debit card to pay for it, I'll write that down. If I used my credit card to pay for it, I'll put that down. If I paid with cash, I'll write that down. And that way it's just, I always know that the things that are most important are being taken care of, because I'm constantly keeping track with it. And I feel like that's the best part about this spread, is that it just keeps you keeping track of it, and it keeps you aware of what's going on. And this is also good if you want to save for anything and you have like a goal that you're trying to reach by a certain time. I actually usually have a column under the calendar on the left page that tracks like my savings, etc. But I actually forgot to put it in September, which is okay, because I track stuff like that in other places, not in my bullet journal. But I typically would have something like that in my bullet journal, just so I could get a bigger picture of my finances for the month. And if you know how much you need to spend on bills, or how much you want to spend on groceries, that's something you can also put in here. It can be catered to anybody, but you know how much money you have left over, which is how much money you can save. So I think the spread could be very useful for a lot of people. So this little I need space sticker is also one of the things that I did not create. I am not taking any credit for that, but it was so cute and I was like, it's perfect. So I had to make a couple of those into stickers too. And again, it's just something I felt really enhanced my theme. So I'm glad that I did it. And then the little quote at the bottom says, "There are no stars without darkness." And then there's like all of the space rocks and the stars and everything going around that. So even though I'm missing one of my little boxes, it's okay, because I think the quote is really cute. And yeah, this is usually one of my favorite pages in my bullet journal every month. Okay, now we're setting up my expense log, and this is where I write down everything that I spend money on. And this is also a really great spread to keep you accountable of how much money you're spending. Even if you don't want to set a budget and you don't want to be strict with your money, it could be a very eye-opening experience to have one of these in your bullet journal and see how much you're actually spending and on what. Like if most of your money is going towards Starbucks or eating out, which is something that I had a huge problem with before. Eating out is the one that gets me every single time. I think this can really hold you accountable, because then you can look at it at the end of the month and be like, wow, I spent like $200 on fast food after I was just complaining about not having any money. All right, so now we are going to set up our semester at a glance. So I also designed that cluster of planets, and you'll see in a second that I add some quote unquote strings to it to make it like planets on like they're balloons. I kind of messed up the bottom. It just was kind of weird, but you know, we're gonna roll with it. It's too late. I already put it down. So of course, for people who are in school, whether, you know, I personally use this for college. I believe you can use it for high school as well. But having a semester at a glance is definitely a beneficial spread, especially for keeping track of bigger things like midterms, quizzes, you know, finals, big projects, etc. And because your bullet journal is something you maybe look at more often than not, or if you're me, I check in with my bullet journal every day. If I forget to check anywhere else, it'll be in my bullet journal so I can remember, like, oh, you know what, I have this essay due, or oh, you know what, I have this really big project coming up and I need to make sure it's done by this date. So now for the next week I can work on that, and I know that because it's my semester at a glance. So pretty self-explanatory, but it's still one of my favorite pages to make because it's just so helpful. So I haven't put anything in my semester at a glance yet because, you know, obviously the school year just started, so I don't have any concrete dates yet, but as soon as they start rolling in, I definitely will be adding them, and you will probably see an updated version on Instagram, so be sure to follow me there. So this page that we're working on is my monthly goals. The way I structure my monthly goals typically is I will structure them as smaller goals to my main goals that I do in the beginning of my bullet journal. So I did 10 goals for 2020, and from those 10 bigger goals, I've created these smaller goals to help me achieve my 10 big goals, basically. That is a form of goal setting that is very effective for a lot of people. I used to think that I could not achieve goals that I set because I would do it and then not achieve whatever it is I wanted to do. And this actually helped me look at goals and goal setting in a completely different light. So Alright, so now we come to my least favorite page of this setup, and that is my ideal weekly routine. Now, I really enjoy having an ideal weekly routine in my bullet journal, especially in a month-to-month basis, because, you know, things do change. Like last month, for example, I wasn't in school, so I didn't have to account for school. But this month, I am in school, so I need to change my schedule to accommodate, you know, classes and spending time doing homework and studying, you know, all of that good stuff. But I just don't like the way this page was executed, and that was my fault. I should have planned it a little bit better. I kind of just winged it, and I don't know. You guys are gonna have to tell me what you think, but I just think I could have done a lot better if I had planned it a little bit better, especially once I actually went through and wrote down all the things. I did find that I didn't have enough space. So if you were to, for example, take inspiration from this, I would not recommend doing this page in the way that I did it. I usually use the blocks of color, but again, I wanted to try something new, and this was that fail that I was talking about in the beginning of this video. And so we are just finishing up my gratitude log, pretty self-explanatory. All right, so we're skipping a couple of weeks because those are all going to be the same. As you know from my last plan with me, I have my weekly setup the same every week. It's just something that works for me. I'm going to school full time. I am working full time, so I don't have time, unfortunately, every week to make my bullet journal. So having my weeks already set up has been very beneficial. But we're skipping to this last one because I'm actually doing a collage for my sun sign. So if you are curious and if you believe in that stuff, I am a Pisces. I am a proud Pisces. And since I was doing a space theme, I figured why not add some astrology into it and do a dedicated page for my sun sign. So I just picked some photos that I felt represented me and my sign kind of on Pinterest. I didn't end up using all of them, but the ones that I did use, I think I like the way that they came together. And this spread was very interesting because, again, I just winged it. I didn't really have a plan going into it. Kind of was just like, okay, I'm just gonna put things where I think they should go, and then we're gonna see how it turns out. And I have to say that it was a little bit of trial and error, but at the end of the day, I do like the way that it came out, so I can't really complain. I also think it's kind of very me because it's all over the place, and I don't know a person more all over the place. And then I decided to freehand a quote, which maybe wasn't the best idea, but you know, it ended up working out, and it adds a very like personal touch to this page, I guess. So, yeah. So next I'm gonna start setting up the last week, but because I did this page before I did the first week, I ended up putting the wrong dates on it, which was unfortunate. I wasn't paying attention. I was really trying to get it done because I was about to lose the daylight, so I was kind of rushing, but I ended up going back and fixing it off camera. Unfortunately, it's not as pretty because I don't have the best like whiteout solution. But, you know, at least for the purposes of the video, it looks really nice. I also had to adjust this weekly spread because I didn't have enough space to have the 4 days that I needed, and also have like where I put my schedule typically, a to-do list, or the place where I track my vitamins and whether I exfoliate. So I just had to put it all up at the top, but you know, I think I made it work. It'll be fine. It'll do what it needs to do for the last week. And if I have any extra to-dos, I'll just have to figure out which day I'm gonna do them or wait until October. So everything's all good. Anyway, so this has been my September plan with me, and you guys are now enjoying the flip through. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I hope you guys stick around for more content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.